If you were like us and thought this whole issue with Renew the Acolyte was going to come and go all during last week when we were reporting on it, you would be wrong, just like I was, because Paul Tassi, in the span of just a couple of days, now has churned out 2 and maybe even a 3rd article this morning, and this show just won't die like it needs to, which is fine because we'll just continue making fun of it. Renegade Online.
I really thought we were going to be done. We did the live show Wednesday. I'm like, here we go. We got to go back to the Acolyte stuff. And I figured out we're going to put a pin in this on Wednesday. Let's just get it out the way so we don't have to keep talking about it. Too late. It doesn't quit. It really does not quit. And the last couple of days, people have been talking about this article here from Rolling Stone. Can the best of Star Wars survive the worst of its fans? And it's not the only one out there. We've seen shill after shill, bot after bot all over Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. They cannot stop themselves. And this is, I don't know why. I truly don't understand why this show is such a dog whistle for them. This has been such a rallying cry. And literally just sticking their feathers in about the ugliest cap possible. Objectively a terrible show. But yet these shills out there, many of whom I'm sure were paid in one way or another, just like many of them were paid to go out and check out Star Wars Outlaws, and now they're shilling for that as well because, like we talked about before, Ubisoft and Lucasfilm paid a bunch of money, flew them out to California, put them up in hotels, wined them, dined them. They've talked about this. They've admitted this on air. But somebody who loves following these shills out there, who's had a great reputation of just clowning these guys on his own YouTube channel in video after video, and I'm glad that he's here for the first time ever on Valliant Renegade. Welcome aboard, Grizzy. What's up, my friend?
Hello, sir. How are you? Thank you.
You have been having a lot of fun with these clowns out there, and for those of you who don't know, Grizzy's got a great YouTube channel.
Unfortunately, Disney Star Wars is not for everyone.
And you've really been growing quite a lot, it seems like, especially in the last couple of months since that show came out. I think a lot of
Probably not the only one. The people that we rip on and have a lot of fun at their expense, it's who Disney is making Star Wars for. That is who Disney wants as their audience. They don't want us as their audience. They want these people.
We got a few days of, save the Acolyte, renew the Acolyte. They start this petition, I don't know if it was change.org or whatever. It seems like every time, and what I really don't understand is how none of these people ever catch on to the fact that these things have a 0% track record of ever working. But for some reason, it's like therapy, right? Go sign an online petition and you'll feel better. It won't do anything, but you'll feel better about yourself or something. I don't know.
How many signatures did remake Game of Thrones season 8 get?
I think it was close to 2 million.
Yeah. So I don't think they're gonna do anything. And people, a lot of friends of mine have been saying this, and I 100% agree. If you want to send a message to Disney, if these people are truly angry, cancel your Disney Plus account.
I don't know much about these people. I just see this because other people are commenting on it. But you have people like Sawyer out there on Twitter and post this, what was this, Friday night or something like this. I broke down crying about the Acolyte tonight. I've been grieving privately for days, and I needed to let it all out. This show means more to me than words can say. It made me feel seen as a female Star Wars fan and as a woman who was taught by society to hide her rage. I don't know what any of that means. Do you?
Feel sorry for me?
I guess.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I cannot figure these people out. And I truly don't understand where the rage is, why this show was so important to them. This has just not stopped. And I mean, it's just gone on and on and on. But then we got the Rolling Stone article, and we've seen it just hasn't stopped from Forbes, from Rolling Stone, from a lot of these other major publications. All these people that when the Acolyte premiered, they were jumping up and down. They were excited. They were excited that it was going to break the white male patriarchy and all this other stuff or some damn thing. And now that it's canceled, they're coming out screaming, and it hasn't stopped for a week.
I can't help but feel by the title that they might be talking about us.
This is the Rolling Stone piece. Can the best of Star Wars survive the worst of its fans before Star Wars can have another successful show? Some vocal parts of the fandom have to reckon with what they really want out of the franchise. When George Lucas debuted his science fiction epic about a galaxy far, far away in 1977, Star Wars went from a long-shot space opera into the highest-grossing science fiction franchise of all time. Almost 50 years and one sale to entertainment conglomerate Disney later, Star Wars isn't just a one-off world. There have been prequels, reboots, standalone television series, and an in-depth theme park edition. But like most popular culture, the Star Wars fandom, especially online, has become inundated with loud, conservative, C word, and in some cases, incredibly racist voices. While Disney has never said these voices are directly impacting what shows get made, the vocal minority of Star Wars devotees keep limiting what they'll accept as true Star Wars. You know, full stop right there. The vocal minority, are those the massive amounts of people that didn't show up to watch The Acolyte?
The vocal minority is what we've been reading on Twitter for the past week, honestly.
That seems to be the case, right?
Yes.
But they're the ones that are artificially elevated and promoted by Disney, I think, through a lot of botting, a lot of Well, you can see a lot of these YouTubers that have, they're not small channels, but they're not million sub channels either. And they're actually followed on social media by official Star Wars accounts, official Disney accounts.
I've followed what Disney has done with these people throughout the entirety of the Acolyte. They brought people with, I think the smallest ones were like less than 50K out there. And it's an effort on their part to legitimize these people, to use them to help build them so that they can come out and basically be, a word that I'm throwing around a lot is cheerleaders for the show, cheerleaders for everything. And they do that on everything. Everyone that they bring out, surprise, surprise, they love the show, and they really, really, really defend it as well. And that's not a surprise.
Yeah, Disney has a history of that. I mean, not just on the TV side, but I mean, they do that with a lot of the park vloggers. I mean, a lot of these people whose entire living is based on the perks that they get as a vlogger for Disney parks. And to lose that access would be devastating for them. So no matter what Disney does, no matter what they pump out, they tend to just, as you said, they tend to be cheerleaders for it regardless. They're not really honestly critiquing anything because they're basically a paid extension of the Walt Disney Company to advertise and promote. And what Rolling Stone is talking about here is we should listen to the people that Disney are effectively paying to advertise their product to tell us that it's good, and everybody else who's just giving their honest opinion who aren't paid by Disney or aren't given perks by Disney, they're the small vocal minority.
It's funny, there is a little bit of a civil war going on amongst them, at least when this news first broke. I don't know if you were aware of that, but there were like the crazy ones, you know, like the, the second tower was just hit people saying crazy stuff like that with regards to the show being canceled. There's those ones. And then there's the ones who they're on the same side, but they're taking Disney's side. And then those two groups are kind of butting heads a little bit. So it's kind of one of those where we just sit back and watch and laugh at the hilarity. And they really kind of go at each other, which I felt was interesting. And a lot of the ones that, Disney gives the access to, that Disney pays, those were the ones that have been leaning more towards like, we're really, really upset about this, but, Disney didn't have a choice. And then the people who aren't, those are the ones that I'm noticing really, really lashing out.
Yeah, like there was some major emotional connection to the show or to the characters.
They love this show, yes.
Yeah, which I for the life of me, I can't understand. And I even made a comment. I said, if you had some kind of emotional connection to any of the characters in the show, then you probably have all the emotional depth of a puddle in the Arizona desert.
I think to me, it represents progress to these people. Like you said earlier, the patriarchy, it's progress. We're moving on from what's Star Wars was, what George Lucas created, and we're moving into something a little more PC, something a little more politically what we want, what they want.
Right. And the problem is there's just not enough of them apparently to justify the type of money that they're spending. And that's what we always talk about here. And they say, look, these fans say that they're fighting for Star Wars' future, but if their endless fantasy world can't accept, they're talking about us now, I guess, if our endless fantasy world, can't accept any new stories or stories they don't recognize, then they're closing themselves off to any future at all. Why, though? Why? I mean, this idea that, we can't go back, and I see a lot of this stuff, celebrating, hey, we're not going back to the Skywalkers again. We don't need to. We've already done with that. I'm like, really? I don't think Disney hasn't touched the Skywalkers since they bought Star Wars. That's kind of been the problem. They killed them off, and they gave us a fake one called Rey, but they've never, this idea that they have,
jiggle the keys occasionally.
Right, and that's about it. The problem is when the more that Disney gets away from the Skywalkers, which are Star Wars, they have been Star Wars since 1977, obviously the less success that Disney seems to have with this, because there is something that is recognizable about the characters, that this is what people want. This is what Disney keeps denying them. And then you've got these people that keep acting like, well, what's wrong? Why don't you like this? You're just a bad fan because you won't accept new stuff. It's like, well, you haven't given us what we've asked for 12, 13 years yet. They say much of the online discourse around Star Wars has centered on the franchise's most recent live-action projects, Book of Boba Fett, Mando, Obi-Wan, and/or The Acolyte. The market has been oversaturated with stories, especially many that occur within the same time frames. However, the low audience scores, angry YouTube rants, and long Reddit threads can really boil down to one question. Who determines what's real Star Wars? First, as a film, and then as a trilogy, Star Wars established early on to viewers that even when they were focused on a set of powerful twins and a dark empire, shit was going down on literally every other planet. This freedom has allowed for endless story arcs across decades, but while opportunities have been endless, the patience of fans hasn't been. This one, the worst part about The Acolyte being canceled isn't the cancellation itself, but knowing exactly which part of the Star Wars fan base Disney listened to in order to go ahead with this decision. Stop caving to pressure and stand your ground if you've made something bold for once. No, they don't.
I could say that with 100% confidence. They absolutely do not care what we think. If we all left, they wouldn't care. It'd be a pretty big financial hit, because I still think we are the ones carrying this franchise.
Oh yeah. It's not just the angry Raylos out there. There's still some of the normies that grew up with Star Wars that are still checking it out, still watching it. Maybe it's meh to them, but they're still kind of at least casually checking in. But when they're gone, they're really going to have a problem. But they're almost there now.
Yes. Yeah. It's more and more like the drop after episode 3. The episode 3, that was where the big drop happened. And it breaks canon at multiple points. It was cringe. It was just everything Star Wars isn't. And then that's when everybody left.
Yeah. They say take for example, the most recent series, The Acolyte, created by Leslie Headland. The series follows May and Osha, a pair of mysterious twins. They weren't really that mysterious. Baffle a group of Jedi. Well, the Jedi were apparently clinically retarded, to be fair. While May fails to follow through on her education, blah, blah, blah. It goes through the synopsis of the show. This week, Deadline reported that Disney canceled the series after just one season. Fans upset with what they called a social justice warrior direction for Star Wars celebrated, calling the show disrespectful to the original films and simply not the Star Wars they loved. Ex-owner Elon Musk, and this is what really pissed him off, Elon Musk even celebrated the news of the show's cancellation, appearing to tweet a redacted version of the phrase, "Go woke, go broke."
That one, you want to set these people off, just simply say that. I had a guy said he wanted to punch a 60-year-old man in the face who said that around him.
Scary thing is those same people, they feel completely morally justified in it. Like they think they have a right to do it. You know, that's the attitude, right? It's like,
Yeah.
we can do it because you're a bad person. And it's scary enough these people believe it. And I think there's a lot of the people that fall into this Acolyte fandom that may feel that same way. Here is the copy of the actual tweet from Culture Crave with Elon Musk's response to it. For those of you out there who didn't catch this earlier this week, yeah, that really set some people off, which was really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Disney has not released a statement on why the Acolyte was canceled, and representatives for Disney and Lucasfilm did not respond to Rolling Stone's request for comment. Reception for the series was mixed. Again, I hate to keep bringing this up. I don't know what your definition of mixed is, but when your audience score is 18%, it isn't mixed. It's pretty much unified in one direction.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valliant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.